Hello everyone! I have a really fun box to share with you. Isn't it gorgeous? I'm using some new products that have launched this week, or launching today actually, on September 3rd. So you can get these new products today. So we're gonna make this adorable little box. We are using the brand new Beautiful Pumpkins bundle. This is actually a new online exclusive. So you haven't seen this in the catalog. If you already have your catalog, you haven't seen this one in the catalog. This is a brand new online exclusive and it is so much fun to play with. I've made some really adorable things with this one. So make sure you throw that one in your cart if you are a pumpkin lover. But we are going to make this adorable little box. And inside, see if it ends up back here. And inside is a little pumpkin brownie. So I got these from my local grocery store, the Little Debbie pumpkin brownies. So you can, I'm sure, find these now in your local grocery store. We're heading into the season of pumpkin, and so it's pretty much like you can't throw a rock in a grocery store without hitting something pumpkin. So there are a ton of pumpkin treats, so I'm sure you can find something to put in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the box first. It's a really simple box to make, and let's grab our Simply Scored. I need to grab that out from my desk here. And you're going to need a piece of cardstock, and oh, I need to get my notes out. Hello. Bear with me, guys. I have a lot of stuff on my desk. I'm doing a lot of class prep at the moment, so I'm working in about a 6-inch area. This is about what I'm working in, so my notes got buried. Okay, you're going to need a piece of cardstock that is 7 by 6 1/4. And on the 7-inch side, we are going to score it at 2 1/4, 3 1/4, 5 1/2, and 6 1/2. Now, don't worry about writing anything down. All of the measurements are going to be listed in the video description, and you can also find them on my blog, which is also linked in the video description. So don't worry about writing anything down. All right, now on that 6 1/4 inch side, we're going to score it at 1/2 inch, 1 1/2, and at 5 1/4. Okay, that is all the scoring. So pretty simple. Nothing fancy. Let me put my Simply Scored. I'm just going to drop it on the floor right now. Everything has taken over my desk. All right. We are going to fold and burnish on all the score lines. Make sure you use a bone folder for this because that is going to give you those really, really crisp folds. It's going to make your box look super professional. And it's really going to kind of change the way you make boxes by getting a bone folder. All right, so this is the 7-inch side, and there are 2 score lines on the top here, and there's one on the bottom. So the one on the bottom, this is the bottom of our box, or this side of the box. So the box opens this way, so we have the 2 score lines here, and then we have the bottom of the box. So let's trim up the bottom of the box first. So with these score lines down here, now we scored it like this, with that 1/2 inch on the other side, but I'm going to hold it this way because it's easier for me to see the score lines. We are going to cut this little tab out, and I'm going to cut this 1/2 inch tab at a notch because that's going to be our glue tab. And we're going to cut up the tabs on the bottom just to that first score line. Make sure you're using a nice sharp pair of scissors for this because that'll also help you out. All right, now I'm going to fold the rectangle pieces out of the way. We're going to leave those intact as rectangles, but I'm going to come in and notch in on all these square pieces here. And that's just going to take away some of the bulk, and if our scoring or our trimming wasn't perfect, that's going to just make assembling our box that much easier. Okay, so that's what the bottom of the box looks like. So we're going to flip it over to the top of the box. And we're going to cut off this 1/2 inch tab again. Just this time we're cutting up to 2 score lines. And we're going to trim off that tab again at a little bit of an angle. So that little glue tab is at an angle. And I like to kind of figure out how my box is going to go together. So this piece right here is going to be the flap that folds over. So we can take off this whole piece over here. So we're just going to cut along that 2nd score line. And we are just going to remove this whole piece just like that. This is what we have now. And now we're just going to cut down these tabs just like this. Just cut down those tabs. And I'm going to fold this big rectangle out of the way. And we're going to cut off this little 1/2 inch tab here on both of these. And then we're going to do the same thing that we did on the bottom. And we're just going to notch these little tabs. And again, that'll take away some of the bulk, and that will just help us assemble this box a little bit easier. All right, so just take those off. All right, now on my box, I used a corner rounder to round the corners of my little tab here. You don't have to do that. I'm actually just gonna snip off a tiny bit. We're just gonna, like a tiny little bit. So we're just gonna kind of miter that edge just a little bit. It's just going to help the little tab go in a little bit easier. So this is your box. That is it. Let me clean up all my trash here from trimming up our box, and then we will start assembling it. Super easy to assemble. We're going to use a nice strong adhesive. I'm using Stampin' Seal Plus. I'm going to put adhesive on this 1/2 inch tab here, and then I'm going to put adhesive, let's flip this over, the side with the little lid part on the bottom. We're going to put some adhesive, and then I'm going to put adhesive on these little tabs. So on the inside of the box, we put adhesive along the bottom, and on the outside of the box, we put adhesive on that 1/2 inch tab. So we're going to fold this over, and we're just going to line up the edges. We're going to line up the score lines down here, make sure everything is nice and secure. Get your fingers in there, just give that a nice little press. All right, now open up all these tabs. The back of the box is going to go in first, and the tabs, and then the front of the box is going to close up everything together. By putting those tabs in second, by putting the back of the box in first and tabs in second, it's going to just hide all the tabs. So there's going to be nothing on the inside. So I'm going to grab my bone folder, and I'm just going to give it a nice little press. Those tabs are completely hidden, so there's nothing that's going to catch on anything. It just gives you a nice, super clean box. All right, so we'll close up our box just like that. Easy peasy, right? Let's throw one of our little brownies in the box. This is a good size box, so it'll probably hold a variety of things, not just these little Debbie brownies. I'm sure you can find other pumpkin treats that it'll hold. It is a really sweet little box. Okay, we're gonna put this box aside. Let's work on our stamping. I have a couple scrap pieces of white here, and we're going to do some two-step stamping. So for my large pumpkin, we're gonna use some peach pie. So I have both of my bigger pumpkin stamps already mounted. Let me zoom out just a little bit. I zoomed in so you could kind of see this, but I think I zoomed in too much. All right, so we have our peach pie. Now, when you're doing two-step stamping, it doesn't matter if you start with the light or the dark. Whatever you're most comfortable with. Right, I'm trying to find a piece of scratch paper that is not too messy. One sec. All right, here we are. All right, we're gonna need a little scratch of paper. I'm gonna start with my solid piece. We'll do the pumpkin pie one the opposite way so you can see the difference. I'm gonna stamp this off on my scratch paper, and then I'm gonna stamp it onto my basic white that we're gonna die cut. This is gonna give us a lighter shade than this one. So peach pie just stamped off. And then for the detail piece, we'll do this one right onto the pumpkin without stamping off. And let's see if I can line it up through the camera. All right, beautiful. And look at that gorgeous texture that you're gonna get with that two-step stamping. So pretty. All right, so that's it with our peach pie. Let's put that aside, and let's grab our pumpkin pie, and let's grab this other piece of cardstock here. And this time we'll start with our detail piece. So you can start with the whichever one you want. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. So that one we didn't stamp off. That's the detail piece. Look how fun that is. Now you could just stamp this like on pumpkin pie cardstock or even on peach pie cardstock, and it'll still give you that kind of depth of color. All right, let's ink this one up in pumpkin pie. This is the solid part. We're gonna stamp this one off on scratch paper. Oops, let's try that again. That was on top of the cardstock as well. Stamp this off on scratch paper, and then you can line this up So whichever way you find easier, if it's easier for you to stamp the solid part first and then the detail piece, or the detail and then the solid, however you want to do it. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Okay, that was our pumpkin pie. All right, we're done with our scratch paper. We need a couple of stems. So I have pecan pie ink for that. So we need a big one and a little one. So I have the little one and I have the big one. Those have fun texture too, so I mean everything has texture. All right, and last but not least, we need our greeting, which I'm going to stamp in Old Olive. And I'm just going to do this right along the bottom of my cardstock here, because we're just going to cut that out. Okay, that's all of our stamping. Now we need to do some die cutting. So let's grab our dies. I didn't do this in advance, so we're just going to do this all together. And I think we'll be able to get it all through the die cutting machine all at once. Let's cut off this greeting first. So I'm just going to grab my little guillotine trimmer. Let's zoom back out just a little bit. And I'm just going to trim to like the height of the words, and then we'll cut off the sides in a little bit. But just there's no measurement to that one. Just trim to the height of the words. All right. I have lots of little pieces of washi tape. We're going to hold all of our pieces down. You could use Post-it tape, Post-it notes, whatever you have. But we're going to hold all of our pieces down just so nothing moves during die cutting. We don't want to go to all that work and then have things move around. So this is the longest part, is the die cutting. If you just wanted to die cut your stems out of pecan pie or crumb cake or whatever, you could absolutely do that as well. I'm just gonna line these up. Perfect. Okay, let's get our machine out. I'm gonna use my little mini machine. It's easier to get in on the video. But you could probably do this. We're gonna try to do this in one pass. But you could probably also do this in on the bigger machine in one pass. Are we gonna make it? Where's my scissors? Here they are. Let's see. Trim this. Let's see if we can get it all on. I think we'll be okay. I think we can. All right. Perfect. We'll run this through. All right. Let's hold this back up. Get this out of the way. And we have our pieces ready to go. Lovely. Move our plates out of the way. And let's start assembling our pumpkins. So those have a little bit of time to dry. For the stems, I'm just going to do a little bit of liquid glue. You can also use a glue dot. Those just fit right onto the top of the pumpkin. Just a little dot of glue. But a glue dot would also work. You'd also probably get away with a mini dimensional too. That would be really cute. Okay, I have a piece of peach pie that is 3.5 by 2. And in advance, I did die cut some of the greenery from Old Olive from the dies. And a couple of little leaves. So let's go ahead and glue those on too. So there's a big leaf and a little leaf. We're gonna just do a little dot of glue and stick the leaves on the pumpkins. So this is a good opportunity, maybe if your die cutting wasn't perfect, or there was a little mark on your stamp and it wasn't perfect, cover it up with a leaf. Nobody will ever know. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry for a second, and let's grab some dimensionals. Actually, let's grab this. We're gonna cut this in half. We're gonna just kind of cut right here. We have 3 leaves on one side and 2 on the other. I'm just gonna cut that away. And we're gonna stick those on after we get our pumpkins on, but let's go ahead and get our pumpkins on first. Now the pumpkins, especially the big one, the stem is gonna hang off the top a little bit, so you don't wanna go all the way to the top with that one. So just a few on the back of the pumpkin will be good. 1 on the back of this little pumpkin. Get rid of all those dimensionals. We'll put our big one on first. We'll put our little one on. Then we're just going to tuck in these leaves, and I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive just on one leaf, these little vines, And these will hang off too, so don't worry about these hanging off. This is a box. It's a 3D item. We're not trying to fit this in an envelope, so it's okay if it hangs off a little bit. Whoops. Trying to zoom in just a little bit. Then we will just stick this on to our box. So just with some dimensionals. Again, it's a 3D item. We can go heavy-handed with the dimensionals. That's okay. This goes right onto our box. If you wanted to decorate the outside of the box with some DSP or something else, you could absolutely do that. All right, for our greeting, we're just going to cut right next to the words here. And I am just going to use my liquid glue. Again, glue dots would work well. You can use Stampin' Seal Plus. But I'm just going to do a little bit of liquid glue right across the bottom. Thankful for the small things. And we're going to finish this up with some brand new embellishments. Now these are in the mini catalog. These are the delightful decorative dots. These are in the mini catalog and they are stunning. They're a little bit big for mailing, I think, but for 3D items like this, I think they work beautifully. So we're gonna do 3 of them, just kind of scattered around. And I'm using these peach pie ones because they coordinate so beautifully. And that's it. That is our sweet little brownie box. So you'll have to let me know what you think. Inside is that little brownie. Yummy treat. So let me know what you think of this one. I'll be back again on Friday with another pumpkin treat box, so you want to join me then. Make sure to subscribe to my channel so you never miss a video. If you like this project, give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for joining me. Bye.